Hello there, everyone. Coming to you live today from this jail cell. Not really, but boy, when you're home so long, sometimes the walls start to close in. Wanted to make a quick video because I've had a few different questions come in this week, and I wanted to make sure that everybody got the same answer. So, if you were having this question, maybe you had it, but you think you know the right answer, let me just clarify things for you. And let me thank the people that asked the questions because I don't know what you are confused about unless you ask. So I appreciate that. And as always, if you think of other questions that you have, send them my way and I will address them either directly to you or something like this. So let's take a look. Get everything here. Here were the questions. So just click. Oops. First week info. How do we submit the introduction speech? With that one, you can go to the discussion board and click create new thread, and then you can add your speech there. Previously, that create new thread link was disabled. And so somebody caught that, let me know about it, and I fixed it. So now that is up and ready to go for you. The next one is when is the introduction speech due? So in the text, I believe it says that it's due this week, and on the schedule, it says it's due next week. Tell you what, I'll take it either week. You can do it now or you can do it then. I think only one person has submitted it so far, and it was fine. So don't feel like you need to redo yours. It was great. But yeah, you can do it this week. You can do it next week. I'm pretty flexible. The third question, the last one on that first week, for the surveys listed, is that something we should do and turn in electronically, or should I print it out and send you an email or upload it? Show the work I've done. It's yeah. So that one, you can really just open up your um, course pack in a Word doc like this one, and then you can highlight the answers that you want to select on each thing, and then you can just screenshot it if you want and send it over. You could copy and paste the surveys into a new Word doc, and then highlight it, save it, and upload it to the discussion board. But the key thing is there, whether you do screenshots or a new Word doc, you just upload it to that discussion board forum there. That's the idea. Next up, videos and media content. Are these sent to your email or uploaded in assignments on Blackboard? And if so, where? So they are, the actual speeches probably won't be uploaded directly to Blackboard, but they will be submitted on Blackboard. There is a video on how to do that, but the short answer is you'll record your speech, you record whatever it is, you record your video assignment, and then you will want to upload that to either YouTube or your Google Drive through your Grand Valley email. Then, from either one of those or something else that you want to upload it to, you will want to go in and get a shareable link that you make sure that is it's going to work. So, in other words, I have the ability to watch it and edit or whatever I need to do with it once I get it. And then you'll take that link, copy it, paste it up into the Blackboard discussion board that's labeled for each one of those assignments. And that is all you need to do. I should be able to then just click the link and then it goes to wherever it's at and watch it from there. The next one. In the syllabus, you say that our videos will be up for peer review or available for peers, classmates to see, but that we will not have any class meetings. So, are we supposed to watch a certain amount of videos and react, review, or rate them? Leave comments as participation. Yeah, so people can go and watch your videos since, for example, they're up in the discussion forum. If you go to the introduction speech right now, again, there's only one, but once that's populated, you can go on with access to the course and watch those presentations. The idea for the first one, the intro, is that you might want to become more familiar with your classmates, and if that's something you want to do, feel free to do it. But there's no requirement, no grade based on commenting or feedback or editing, any of that. So the answer there is you don't have to react, review, rate, or leave comments, but you can if you want. And yeah, you can watch those, but again, it's not a requirement. Next, when creating speeches, are we allowed to use cards or have a paper available to read off of or reference? If yes, will points be deducted for how many times we use them or refer to them to keep ourselves centered? That is an excellent, excellent question. So, first part of that, yes, you can have notes with you. There, there needs to be some information, and I can put this in another video just because it's that important to me. That how you should use notes. There's a right and a wrong way to use notes. Again, I don't want you to read those notes, and I don't count how many times you look up and down, but it should be roughly at least 50% of the time you're looking at the camera, which is your audience here, or at least not at your notes. So you won't have points deducted unless it becomes distracting and there is a lack of eye contact. Maybe you're using the notes for, sort of a crutch because you're not that familiar with your information. So don't read the speech or even get close to it. But if you can do like a 50-50 or more eye contact is ideal. Let me grab a sheet of paper here. Okay. So regular sheet of paper. What I would recommend that you do when you print, first of all, I recommend that you use the class outline as your notes. Now, instead of printing it, that's going away. Instead of printing it, you know what I mean here, portrait style, turn it landscape in the Word doc before you start to type. Sorry, trying to get that to come through. There we go. Turn it landscape. Then print it in columns. Give yourself 2 columns. And the divide should be right in the center. Then print it double-sided, even if that means taking it out and turning it over, putting it back in and running it through. Print it double-sided. Or if you like to handwrite this stuff, do that, but it's neater with notes or with typing. Once you get that, you'll have basically 4 columns of information, 2 on the front and 2 on the back. Then have fun for 30 minutes. Turn on your favorite show, music, podcast, whatever you're into. And for that 30 minutes while you're sitting, watching, listening, whatever, do this. Take your notes, your piece of paper, fold it in half, crease it, fold it the other way, crease it, and then repeat for 30 minutes. It works. Here's how that ends up working. I'm not going to do the 30-minute approach yet. If I have a full sheet of paper here that's not folded in that way, boy, that's tough to do. There we go. Sort of. But if I've got a full sheet of paper, you can hear that if I get a little nervous. However, if I've got it folded in half, you have to trust me that it is now. Very, very, it's a quieter noise, if any. If you hold it up near the middle, you don't hear anything. So that's one reason. The other reason is it's nice to be able to reference the notes, and then when you're finished with that front side, instead of having to flip over, a big notepad, you just flip. Well, that's hard to see. There it is. Flip it over. Then when you finish that second column, so now you're on the back, you need to go to the inside of the piece of paper for those 2 columns. You can really, as you transition between one point to another, just change your note hand. So you can do this kind of thing. You're just going to open it while you're transitioning. So now that you know more about whatever those 2 points were, let's go to my last point, which is this. And now you've opened it, but since you folded it for 30 minutes, that crease is so worn in, it was silent. It was a silent switch. Also, you didn't hold it up here while you were talking. You dropped your hands down around your waist, flipped it. We didn't see it. We didn't hear it. We didn't detect it. That also prevents you from needing to flip over again, like I said, if you're using sort of a stapled full page approach. And God help us, please, please do not use note cards. When people use note cards, they become, I call it T-Rex arms. Hopefully this will stay, but yeah, so this is about the size of a note card now. And people will hold them just like right here, and their arms are just compressed. And then they flip through the note cards. That's it. It looks bad. It's distracting. What if you drop those? They hit the floor. Now you got to go down. You got to pick them all up. If you drop a one sheet of paper that's folded, it happens. No big deal. You just bend down, quick, grab it. You're done. But with note cards, you've got to pick them back up. You got to stack them so they fit together. God help if they're not in the right order. Did you number them? Some people will try to put like a big clip on the end of it, like a ring with a hole punch. That's not distracting at all. Don't use note cards. But again, the quick answer here is please do use notes. There are areas when it's more applicable to use notes than others, and there's information on that in one of the lectures. But try to at least look at us half the time instead of relying on those notes so much. Okay, for the speech lab. You note the speech lab is important and must be done 3 times, and it's required, but then say it's extra credit. Don't want to shoot down extra credit. Good call. But it's making more than 3 required visits considered extra credit. Yes, that's the situation. So to clear that one up, you need to go once for a tour, and there's a due date in the syllabus. You need to go once before your informative speech, and then once before one of your persuasive speeches. Doesn't matter to me which one. If you go to your first one, okay, that's great. The next one that you go to will be for your informative. That will take care of that requirement. Any more that you do between the first one, the first one for the informative and the informative speech, anything in between there will be a bonus point toward the informative speech, which comes out to be like a 0.33, a third of a point on your final grade. I know that sounds just dismal, but it really does add up because everything goes to 100 here. It's not like it's a 600-point class. So you get 1 full point on your individual speech grade. Then that resets, and you go again for one of the persuasive. So after you've given the informative speech, the first time you go counts as the required persuasive. Now you've met all the requirements for the speech lab. So anytime you go after that one will be a point on the next the next persuasive speech. And if that's before the first persuasive, it'll go on the first persuasive. If it's after him but before the final speech, it goes on the final speech. So yeah, there are 3 required visits: tour, informative speech, and 1 persuasive, but anything over that is extra credit. All right. Next up, how will we record and send you that we have visited the speech lab and taken the tour? No worries. So when you go to the website and do the tour, whoever is working with you, the consultant, knows to send me an email. There's an automatic system really that's in place, what used to be, but now it's manual, but we've got it covered. All you need to do is because you're in my class, don't even need to do this, but just say something like, my professor needs to know I was here, and they'll take it from there. So you don't have to worry about getting me anything. They'll send it to me. Again, since that's my group, you're all set. Class content. When you specify some of our sources need to be peer reviewed, does that have to be through Grand Valley's library only? I assume that's what that means. For communications class I had, very small luck using this, receiving help, papers, journals. I can always provide proof. Yeah, so no, it doesn't just have to be through the library. So there is there's a lecture that's recorded. It's the topics and sources one, where I talk a little bit about the peer review process and how that works, and that's really what I mean there. So a peer review process needs to have taken place, and that can be from the journal itself, which it should be, but you might find peer-reviewed sources on Google Scholar. You may find some of them on just Google, and then you will, though, the biggest collection, and that's the easiest to get through, would be on Grand Valley's library's website. Now, if you've had bad luck with that in the past, 2 things I'll tell you. One, watch that video, because I go in and do some searching, and I've made a demo of it so that you can see how I do it, and that might give you some insight on what you need to do. But know, this is super important, that we also, and this is great on 2 ends, we also have a service on campus called the Campus Research Center, and they are part of the Knowledge Market with the Speech Lab and the Writing Center. So if you go to that same website, the same exact person you would talk to get a speech lab consultation, ask for a research consultation. We have the same hours, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., Monday through Thursday. Then you can tell that person what you're doing, what class it's for, what your topic is, and they're not there to do the work for you and pull the sources up and hand it to you, but they are there to guide you through the process. So you could share your screen with them and say, I didn't find anything and this is what I'm doing, and they'll say, oh well, try this instead, and they'll work with you until you get what you need. The other reason that's very good and important for you is because I will count that also as extra credit. If you go to the research center, none of those are required, but I will count them as extra credit, just the same as a speech lab appointment if you want to go and do that. Also, It's the same system. Just let them know that you need to have the notes or the attendance, the record sent to your professor, me, and they'll take care of that for you also. So I hope that answers all of those. Again, thank you for the folks who wrote and wanted to know more about this. If you have questions, please send them to me. And don't forget, there are some things due on Thursday, so tomorrow by 11:59 p.m. The introduction speech can be either tomorrow or the next week, doesn't matter. And then the other stuff is pretty clearly listed there on the class agenda. All right, so from my prison cell to yours, I hope this was helpful, and I will talk to you soon.